Chapter 15 talks about place strategies, which include distribution channels and supply chain management. The purpose of this chapter is to explore the different types of distribution channels, the three functions of marketing intermediaries, the 5 factors that influence selection of distribution channels, and the methods for managing the warehousing and storage functions of the supply chain. It also examines the major modes of transportation and methods utilized for accomplishing the priorities of a particular supply chain. Distribution channels, or also called marketing channels, bring buyers and sellers together to complete transactions. These channels consist of the individuals and organizations who manage the flow of product from producers to consumers. Even the best product would never see the light of day without a plan for making that product available at the right time, in the right place, to the right customers. So, what are the 4 types of distribution channels? The first step in choosing a distribution channel is to determine which type of channel will best meet the seller's objectives and distribution needs of customers. No single channel best serves the needs of every company. Instead of searching for the best channel for all products, a firm must analyze channels in light of consumer needs to determine the most appropriate channel or channels for the firm's goods and services. There are 4 distribution channels to choose from: direct channel, channels using marketing intermediaries, dual distribution, and reverse channels. The simplest and shortest distribution channel is a direct channel. A direct channel carries goods directly from a producer to the ultimate user. This channel is often supplemented with direct selling, which is a marketing tactic in which a producer establishes direct sales contact with its product's final users. Direct selling is an important option for goods requiring extensive demonstrations for persuading customers to buy. A company can actually utilize more than one direct channels. A producer uses direct channels by selling straight to consumers without its products passing through other distributors or retailers. A producer can sell directly to consumers online and through its own physical retail stores. In both cases, they bypass the use of other distribution partners to sell their products. Take note that a company partnering with FedEx, for example, or DHL, to deliver their product to the customer is still considered a direct channel. In this case, FedEx or DHL is just a logistic partner. They aren't a part of actually marketing the product. The next type is channels using marketing intermediaries. Although direct channels allow simple and straightforward marketing, they are not practical in every case. Some products serve markets in different areas of the country or other parts of the world, or have large numbers of potential end users. Other categories of products rely heavily on repeat purchases. The producers of these products may find more efficient, less expensive, and less time-consuming alternatives to direct channels by using marketing intermediaries. A marketing intermediary or middleman is an organization that operates between producers and consumers to help bring the product to market. There are 3 primary types of marketing intermediaries, namely retailers, wholesalers, and agents. Retailers specialize in selling product to customers or to consumers by opening stores, hiring sales staff, marketing to generate consumer traffic, and displaying merchandise in ways that encourage purchasing. Wholesalers or distributors take title to the goods, which means they buy the goods themselves. They store them in warehouses and distribute them to retailers, other distributors, and sometimes end consumers. A sales agent is a third-party person or company who represents the producer to wholesalers and retailers. Sales agents are essentially a contracted sales force with expertise in a particular market or geography. They are particularly important for smaller firms that might not be able to afford a full-time sales staff or for firms going into new markets. Sales agents do not buy or take title to the product, but serve as go-betweens for producers and their distribution partners. Here are the different configurations of distribution channels using intermediaries, which include from the producer, they pass through the retailer and then to the customers. Another is from the producer, they pass through the wholesalers, then the retailer, and then to the customers. The third is coming from the producers. They pass through agents or brokers or middlemen, then the wholesaler, then retailer, and then to the customers. For example, Procter & Gamble, which is a producer, partners with a number of agents, wholesalers, and retailers to distribute its products to consumers all over the world. Vertical integration is the term used when a producer assumes control over functions that were previously handled by an intermediary. For example, Apple, which is a producer, decided to open its own retail stores in addition to distributing its products through other retailers. Dual distribution is the movement of products through two or more channels to reach the firm's target market. So a producer can have the option to sell through a retailer and then consumers can purchase the product from the retailer. Or the producer also sells direct to the consumer. For example, Starbucks is a producer of coffee which the consumer can directly purchase from the many Starbucks cafes found in several areas. At the same time, Starbucks also display their products to retailers like 7-Eleven, from which the consumers can also purchase. Reverse channels allow return of goods to their producers. Example, incurring a recycling charge for disposing of old tires when you buy new ones. Another example is soft drink bottles are returned by the consumers back to the manufacturer for them to reprocess and reuse for the next batch of production. Reverse channels have gained importance due to rising prices of raw materials, increased availability of recycling facilities, and increased environmental sustainability. Reverse channels also handle product recalls and repairs. To summarize the four types of distribution channels, we have first, direct channels, which carries goods directly from producer to consumer. The second is channels using marketing intermediaries, such as when a product from a producer passes through the retailer from whom consumers can buy, or from producer, then wholesaler, retailer, then the consumer, or from producer, the products are handled by a distributor, then to the retailer, then the consumer. Another intermediary configuration is from the producer, handled by an agent or a broker, to the wholesaler or distributor, then the retailer, which distributes the products to the consumers. The third type of distribution channel is the dual distribution, which is when a producer utilizes a direct channel plus two or more intermediaries. The fourth type of distribution channel is the reverse channel, where consumers can return the goods or part of the goods back to the producer either for reprocess, reuse, recycle, or sometimes for product recall or repairs. Functions of intermediaries. Intermediaries often can perform the distribution functions more effectively and less expensively than the producer can. Intermediaries perform three functions, namely, first, facilitating the exchange process, second, lowering the cost of logistics, and third, increasing a company's sales and marketing infrastructure. First, the intermediary can facilitate the exchange process. A producer can cut the cost of buying and selling to multiple customers by using an intermediary. So instead of the producer having to deal with every customer, which can be numerous, expensive, and time-consuming, the producer can hire a marketing intermediary who will take charge of handling the customers. Then the producer only has to deal with the intermediary, which facilitates the distribution process, whereby allowing the producer to focus on their production of their goods. Second, lower cost of logistics. By using intermediaries, a manufacturer doesn't have the cost of buying or leasing its own warehouses to inventory product or operating its own fleet of vehicles to deliver the product. Instead, the producer can partner with a logistics company to ship the products or a wholesaler who can inventory and deliver product to retailers or end users. Third is increased sales and marketing infrastructure. Intermediaries provide cost-effective sales and marketing services to manufacturers. So instead of hiring thousands of sales representatives to reach retailers and consumers across the country, a firm can work with large sales and marketing companies that have existing sales forces or partner with large retailers who have thousands of locations and service millions of existing customers on a daily basis. Short versus long distribution channels. A short distribution channel involves few intermediaries. Examples of these are business market products or service firms. A long distribution channel involves several intermediaries working in succession to move goods from producers to consumers. There are a variety of factors which affect the selection of a distribution channel, namely market, product, organizational, competitive, and intensity. First, market factors. Products are intended for either consumer or business market end users. For business market purchasers, they usually prefer to deal directly with the manufacturers. Consumers mainly make their purchases from retailers. Other market factors which affect channel choice include the market's needs, or the geographic location of the market, or the average order size. Second, product factors. Products' characteristics guide the selection of the optimal distribution channel strategy. Example, perishable goods move through short distribution channels to reduce storage time. So, perishable goods include fresh fruit and vegetables and milk. Products with low unit cost usually travel through long channels to gain the widest distribution possible. Examples would be canned dog food, bars of soap, gum, or other grocery items. Third are organizational factors. Companies with strong financial management and marketing resources need less help from intermediaries. A large, financially strong manufacturer can hire its own sales force, can warehouse its own goods, and can extend credit to retailers or consumers. A firm with a broad product line can usually market directly to retailers or business users. On the other hand, a small firm with fewer resources may need intermediaries. Direct selling is often unaffordable for single product firms. Next are the competitive factors. Marketers sometimes choose distribution channels to either avoid competitors or to compete with competitors head to head. Two types of conflict can hinder the functioning of a distribution channel. First, you have the horizontal conflict, which is the disagreements among channel members at the same level, such as two or more wholesalers or two or more retailers. Vertical conflicts refer to disagreements among channel members at different levels. So, for example, between wholesalers and retailers or between agents and retailers. The answer to channel conflict is effective cooperation among channel members, best achieved when all channel members regard themselves as equal components of the same organization. Next, we have intensity factors. Distribution intensity refers to the number or percentage of intermediaries, usually retailers, through which a manufacturer distributes its goods in a particular market. The three general categories of distribution intensity include intensive distribution, selective distribution, and exclusive distribution. Intensive distribution seeks to distribute a product through all possible and available retailers in a trade area. This suits items with wide appeal across broad groups of consumers. For example, products such as mineral water may be distributed to street vendors, vending machines, sari-sari stores, convenience stores, restaurants, canteens, food carts, malls, kiosks, pharmacies, and grocery stores. So, distribution for this type of product is intensive. The next category is selective distribution, which is when a firm chooses only a limited number of retailers in a market area to handle its line of products. For example, cough syrups can be distributed only through pharmacies like example 360 Pharmacy, we have Rose Pharmacy, Mercury Drugs, and other specific pharmacies. This reduces marketing cost while establishing strong working relationships within that channel. Selected retailers often comply with the firm's rules for advertising, pricing, and displaying of products and follow its specific rules and regulations as to the distribution for the customers. Exclusive distribution is when a producer sells to only a small number of retailers or grants exclusive rights to a wholesaler or retailer to sell its products in a specific geographic region. For example, cars like Mitsubishi is only allowed to be distributed by an exclusive Mitsubishi Motors in a specific region. This may sacrifice some market coverage, but often develop and maintain an image of product quality and prestige. This limits marketing cost also. Components of the supply chain. A supply chain is the complete sequence of suppliers and activities that contribute to the creation and delivery of goods and services. It is also known as the value chain. The supply chain begins with the raw material inputs for manufacturing a product, then proceeds to actual production activities, and ends with the movement of finished products through the distribution channel, then to the customers. Logistics are activities related to the physical movement and management of raw materials or products. The supply chain takes place in two directions. First, the upstream management, which involves supply of raw materials from suppliers. Quality, availability, and ethical sourcing must be considered right from the start. The inbound logistics are the ones in charge of making sure the supplies will reach the manufacturer, ensuring timeliness of delivery and reliability of the logistics partners. Warehousing and storages takes care of the safety, security, and inventory control of materials received and stored. Production takes place when materials and labor come together and ready. In the production process, quality control must strictly be implemented. Safety, fair labor practices, speed, and cost are the main considerations. The output of production is the finished products ready for distribution to the market. Downstream management involves managing finished product storage, outbound logistics, marketing, and sales of the finished goods, and customer service, which ensure accessibility and, in addition, streamline returns process whenever necessary. So again, supply chain management takes place in two directions. First is the upstream management, which include management of raw materials, inbound logistics, and warehouse and storage facilities, and then production of goods. Downstream management involves the management of finished product storage, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, and customer service. Managing the supply chain. The common methods for managing the supply chain includes radio frequency identification, which is a tiny chip with identification information which is placed on an item. That chip can then be read by a radio frequency scanner from a distance, making tracking of the products easier. Next is Enterprise Resource Planning or ERP system. This is an integrated software package that consolidates data from among the firm's units. Logistical cost control. These are businesses which re-examine each link in their supply chains to identify activities that do not add value for customers. Key priorities of warehousing and storage. A firm's warehousing and storage function contains the following elements. First, we have inventory control. Quantity of inventory the firm maintains at each location. Second, protective packaging and materials handling. This refers to how the firm packages and efficiently handles goods in the factory, warehouse, and transport terminals. The third is warehousing, the distribution system's location of stock and the number of warehouses the firm maintains. Inventory control. Companies must maintain enough inventory to meet customer demand without incurring costs for carrying excess inventory. With just-in-time or JIT production, companies keep low inventory, relying on suppliers to deliver parts quickly when they are needed. RFID technology tracks the quantity and whereabouts of inventory more precisely. Protective packaging and materials handling. Two concepts influence materials handling choices. First, unitizing or palletizing, which means combining as many packages as possible into each load that moves within or outside a facility. This promotes efficiency or efficient materials handling because each package requires minimal labor to move. This minimizes damage and pilferage. Next is containerization. This is the process of combining several unitized loads into a single, well-protected load. This reduces loading and unloading time and limits in-transit damage to freight. Warehousing. Products flow through two types of warehouses. First, we have storage, which holds goods for moderate to long periods to balance supply and demand for producers and purchasers. Then we have distribution, which assembles and redistributes goods, keeping them moving. Logistic managers can cut costs by developing central distribution centers and automating warehouse systems. When determining the number and location of storage facilities, a company must consider warehousing and materials handling cost, delivery costs from warehouses to customers. Large facilities offer economies of scale in facilities and materials handling systems. Delivery costs rise as the distance from warehouse to customer increases. Logistics managers choose from 5 major modes of transportation, which include railroads, motor carriers, water carriers, pipelines, and air freight. Each mode has its own unique characteristics. All shippers consider reliability, speed, and cost when choosing the most appropriate transportation methods. They assign varying levels of importance to each criterion based on their situation. Railroads control the largest share of the freight business as measured by ton miles, especially in the U.S. Ton mile means shipping activity required to move 1 ton of freight per 1 mile. Rail provides the most efficient way to move bulky commodities over long distances. Goods most often handled by railroads are lumber, iron, steel, coal, or automobiles, grain, and chemicals. Motor carriers include trucks which haul more than 10.5 billion tons of freight each year. They deliver to areas railroads cannot reach. They provide fast and consistent service for both large and small shipments. Technology has improved the efficiency of trucking. This also includes motorcycles, vans, cars, other motorized land vehicles. The goods which most often handled by motor carriers include clothing, furniture, fixtures, lumber, plastics, food, and also machinery. Water carriers. Two types of transportation methods move products over water. We have inland or barge lines, which transport bulky, low unit value commodities. Then we have ocean-going deep water ships. Costs are low compared with the rates for other modes of transportation. Transit time is often longer than other options. The goods most often handled by water carriers include fuel, oil, chemicals, automobiles, electronics, clothing, or toys from foreign manufacturers. Next, we have pipelines. More than 2.5 million miles of pipeline crisscross the U.S., transporting energy products. They offer low maintenance and dependable methods of transportation, but also have limitations. They have fewer locations than water carriers, able to accommodate shipments of only a small number of products, and offer a relatively slow method of transportation. The goods which most often handled by pipelines include oil, diesel fuel, jet fuel, kerosene, natural gas, including water. Air freight is the shipment and transfer of goods through an air carrier. This provides a number of benefits to shippers, which include products can be delivered to remote or hard to reach locations. Time-sensitive materials can more easily be shipped via express air. Smaller and mid-sized companies can participate more easily in international trade. Airport controls provide a higher level of security. Goods most often handled by air freight includes flowers, medical testing kits, and gourmet food products sent directly to consumers. This table shows the relative comparison of the five modes of transportation in terms of speed, dependability in meeting schedules, frequency of shipments, availability in different locations, flexibility in handling, and cost. We have intermodal operations, which means utilizing a combination of transport modes to improve customer service and achieve cost advantages. First, we have piggyback. These are land-to-land intermodal operations such as railroads, then to highway carriers. Next, we have birdie back. Birds fly, so air transport, then received by highway carriers. Then we have fishy back. Remember, fish swims, so transport by water via boats or ships, then received by air carriers or motor carriers. To summarize this chapter, we discussed the four types of distribution channels, namely direct channel, marketing intermediaries channel, dual distribution, and then reverse channels. We also discussed the three functions of intermediaries, which include facilitating the exchange process, lowering the cost of logistics, increasing a company's sales and marketing infrastructure. Then we also discussed the five factors that influence selection of distribution channels, which include the market factors, product factors, organizational factors, competitive factors, and intensity of distribution. Next, we talked about the supply chain of a manufacturing company, then warehousing and storage functions, which include inventory control, protective packaging and materials handling, warehousing. The five major modes of transportation include railroads, motor carriers, water carriers, air freight, and pipelines. Intermodal operations include piggyback, birdieback, and fishyback. That was Chapter 15, Place Strategies, which include distribution channels and supply chain management.